Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, as a manifesting scientist, a subtle energy physicist, which is what this whole energy of life is all about. I mean, life energies are not just something that forms into physical matter, it becomes into energetic fields. These energetic fields is happiness, sadness, health, illness, etc. These are all part of the physical world and part of subtle energy physics. And this is what you work on in life. But what do you work on? People are not really told what the bigger picture of life is all about. And I constantly do free readings on people, searching for where their problems are. And everybody pretty much has the same problems in the same areas to one greater degree or lesser degree. And what are these energies in your life that you have to be aware of and work on and bring to you and expand upon? Because this is what really is the key to all success in life. Now, one of the major areas that we have to look at is our level of blocked. How blocked are you? Now, in more energetic physicist terms, it's called a crossed condition, where you're crossed up. You know, if you think about the word crossed, you think of your legs crossing. Well, he crossed his legs when he's running. What happens? He fell down, he got crossed up, he got messed up, and then fell down. This is the kind of thing of being crossed, or basically a cross is a kind of an X, is kind of it's a blockage. So that's how you block things and so forth. You put a cross there. Or if something is filled in or you don't want to include something, well, you put a cross through it. You block it. So this is a classical old occult scientist term, and a very good one. And this is what stops you from getting ahead in life. Now, there are levels of cross. Now, everybody is cross, meaning that a cross condition basically is when you start building blockages in front of you. You can see it as a bubble starting to form around you, this black sheet of bubble, and starts blocking you. Or you can see it as blockages, you know, big boxes in front of you that stop your progress, or you have to move around, or things in life are blockages. They become, the more you become crossed, the harder and harder it is to succeed in life. Now, I've talked about these things individually for a while, but I want to put it in context here so everybody understands it and we offer tools to stop this. And this is the most important tools in your life that you need to get. So you get this cross condition. It goes from, everybody kind of has problems in life, and sometimes greater than others. And these cross conditions build up. Then they get more and more serious, and then you have to fight for everything you get. So everybody is about stage 1 cross, meaning they have conflict in their life, and this is kind of hanging around. But as this goes on for years and years, you start moving up to stage 2, which a lot of people are at, and that still gives you a certain amount of openings to move. And then there's stage 3, where you're very highly blocked. And most people have been in this stage for 5, 10 years or more. And it's very difficult to remove the negative energy that is now stuck to you. It's an indirect type of curse. Now, a curse is when someone puts direct negative energy on you to hurt you. But curses can form from being crossed for long periods of time. Cross conditions can turn into curses, or things that are permanently stuck to you that continue to grow. Now, curses are like cancer, and cross conditions turn into spiritual cancer as well, because they start being there so long and they start building up. So this is something you have to be very aware of. And if you're having any kind of problems in life, health problems, mental, spiritual, whatever it is, you're going to have blockages there. And the more blockages you have there, the more difficult it is to achieve your goals. And of course, when that happens and it gets worse and worse, life becomes this horrible struggle. We generally then measure how crossed you are and all the other factors that I'm going to talk about in a minute by your manifesting level. Now, again, I've went over this in the free reading playlist, and you should listen to all those. They're not very long, but it is very critical. These are all the aspects of your life. But if you are crossed in any way, and you can get this from hanging around with the wrong people, but the negative energy starts to affect you. And there are many ways to get this. You live in a negative environment, you're with negative people, but you've had lots of struggle in your life, bad family life, bad friends. I mean, it can come from anywhere. And that means you're living in this giant negative soup, and you're now unable to pull yourself out of the soup and dry off, so to speak. So the soup gets thicker and thicker, and it turns into a stew, which you are now stuck in, almost a quicksand. So you need to alleviate that by uncrossing yourself. And you do this in several different ways. But we've made, and part of our very unique Trinity set has an uncrossing cell in it. And this is a cell you're going to use for the rest of your life, because you don't uncross yourself once. You have to uncross yourself all the time. As a matter of fact, you should be uncrossing yourself every month. And of course, that's what this manifesting energy cell does. It removes the blockages in your life, and you have to keep working on that. And if you go through some tough times and you have problems, you run into certain psychic or physical illness as well, that's because you are blocked. And that also comes into the other area. The other area is your third eye and chakras. Now, these are kind of your main energy systems in your body. You could call these your motors. These are your motors that run your body. There are many motors, and there are other spiritual energies, etc. But most people understand what your chakras are, which is a term meaning energy wheel. And there's been a debated number of these, from 5 to 7 to 9 to even more chakras. And there are many, many chakras or energies, little motors that drive you depending on your spiritual development. But in general, we have the typical ones. Now, if these are in any way impaired, it means your energy is not flowing through your body well. So this is causing a blockage. So if your energy is not flowing well, you're not at your peak mental and spiritual health and physical health to do everything you should. So this means that you don't have the energy you need to clear out your blockages, to move ahead, and for your life to go well. And as a manifesting scientist, you're very concerned about these subtle energies, because this is what drives the engines. I mean, they are engines, but keeping them going is very important. The other key one, of course, is your third eye. Now, your third eye is very interesting, and it is something that is a psychic center. Your bio-consciousness needs the third eye to function. I think it's overestimated in its value, but it is important. It's one of those critical higher level sensing and manifesting tools that we all need to work on. So the third eye technically is a third eye. So we're told this is an eye that just never grew, but it's in your head. And what it is basically it's a high level sensing organ. It has some practical things and emits some hormones and other things. But in terms of the spiritual aspects of it, it's a very important area, which is kind of towards the back of the head and the center of the head. It's not in your forehead. It's in the back of your head almost, or in a bit. And that's why there is very important sensing centers that are where the spine meets the skull. It's a very, very powerful area that few people know about. But if these things are actually not functioning well, and most people, they're closed 40 to 80%. So this really stops your manifesting capacities, because these are the things that empower your bio-consciousness. The bio-consciousness, your higher self, your inner magical being, makes everything happen. So if these energies are really low, well, you have difficulty manifesting in general, and you have great difficulty manifesting extreme abilities. Meaning, are you able to do basic little procedures, tune radionic machines, or use other machines? Are you able to use the cells to their highest capacity? Well, if these energies are radically closed, well, you're not going to get the full effects. And that's the really problem that I have with everyone, is that we have awesome tools. The problem is the user of these tools is basically kind of a clogged up system. You know, you're not working right. So the whole idea is you don't have that great flow of energy, and you can't pull in enough energy and a lot of times when you need it, because you're clogged, you're rusty, you're atrophied. Because these flowing energies through you have not been activated. Now, there's many ways of doing this, and they're generally all kind of difficult, but not when you use MechTech, manifesting energy cells. So we have one that clears out the third eye and the chakras, and it does it in a slow, easy fashion, making sure you don't have energy problems. But it's a critical area. So if your third eye isn't working well and your chakras aren't flowing well, trying to generate high-level energies to influence others and to change your life and to clear out the blockages is going to be limited. So that's why we have this trinity. Now, the trinity is very interesting because you have that all-important uncrossing. You're removing all of these blockages, taking that negative energy away. But that's not all of it. So once you start removing blockages, you need to get the flow of energy through there. You could kind of look at it as a stream. So when you are crossed, your stream is, or you can see it as a river or a stream, is kind of clogged. You've got these different things that are stuck in there. Let's say people threw trash in there or whatever, and it is inhibiting the flow of that stream. What you want to get is that stream running at peak levels, meaning flowing without any obstructions. Now you start with the uncrossing, but of course, the water still isn't moving well because there are other obstructions. So that's where you get into the opening up the chakras and the third eye. Now you can't blow open your chakras and third eye because you'd have a surge of energy. And there has been, in very bizarre, rare cases reported, that people have actually upset themselves and even died. Now this is obviously, I mention it just as the fact that to show you how potent these energies can be. So if all the energy flows through you at this super level, it can really affect you. And of course, it can also affect your consciousness and make you weird, strange, over-energized, and so forth. So generally, this is never anything to be worried about. We wish we could do that easily to people, but it's very rare to have these kind of openings. But the process that we work with is to do things slow and consistently. So open things very slow, keep them going at a stage, so that you adjust all the energies. Everybody wants instantaneous everything, but it just doesn't work like that. More isn't better, fast isn't better in everything. Certainly we want to move ahead at a good pace and we want to clean ourselves out. But if you do things too quickly, then you have a problem. So if you clean your body out too quickly and you're taking toxins and other things out, all of this becomes a serious problem that we have to deal with, and the fact of it's too much at once. So you've got to do things at a slow and steady pace where you can handle them. And when you're dealing with these kind of energetic systems or your bioenergetic fields, these take time to clean out. They're energetic in nature. Affecting these energy fields is difficult and subtle. But don't think that subtle means not powerful. So subtle changes in your life are very powerful. You can't make major changes and go one to the other. So this is the way life works. You have to do it slowly so you can handle it, so you can adjust your life, etc., etc. Everything just happened within minutes. It would be mentally debilitating and would be a very great danger to your sanity. So once you've opening these, once you start removing the blockages, you start opening up the energy flows through your body. Well, what is the last area? Well, the last area is very important as well, and that's the third part of the trinity, which involves the actual cleansing and protection, which is so critical, and that is protection and removal of curses. Now, but we're talking about protection in general here. Now, curses are something that people don't understand in general. As I said, people envying you, people thinking negative things about you all the time. And you'd be surprised how many people are attacking other people, sending them negative energy, doing rituals against them, etc. It's very common today. It's something that most people have knowledge of, and it's easily obtained on the net, etc. So if somebody wants to curse you, they can do that. But a lot of curses are just envy, hatreds, jealousy. Well, all these things are a form of a curse. If someone is really jealous of you, they're sending you this cursing energy. What they're doing is sending you very negative energy. Now, over time, if this continues and comes from a lot of people, it will build up into a physical curse. So that's something everyone should understand as well, which means that they have implanted a cancerous growing energy in your energy fields that stays there and continues to grow. And it could take years to have serious problems, or months, etc. But generally it sits there for many years, and then your life starts to have problems. You get sick, financial problems, relationship problems. This is what curses do. They generally are not directed at someone to necessarily kill them. They're there and they work, and of course that is a factor with serious cases where people are actually attacked and from negative curses. They send demons at them, and it could actually push you to a point where it kills you in some fashion. These aren't as rare as you think either. But generally it's not something, unless somebody goes out and hires somebody to curse you. And I don't find that many curses on people. What I find is people are very highly crossed, meaning they have lots of negative energy through their life, maybe 10, 20 years they've been involved in things, struggling here and there. Well, that builds up a lot of negativity. So curses are when somebody directly goes after you, or indirectly, but is constantly feeding you negative energy. But there are people that do curses, and they will send negative energy to you. And high-level magical practitioners can send evil spirits at you. And most of the time, these don't hang around very long, and you bounce them off of you to a degree. But if they keep getting sent, they could then create this sticking onto you, this kind of arrow effect where they stick in your aura, and then they have implanted themselves. There is general protection you need from envy and rotten people in general. So this is just so typical of what's out there. And we do have a real serious problem now in the world, which is Satanism has taken over to a large degree. There are millions and millions of Satanists, and people have no problem dealing with them, hiring them, or becoming a Satanist themselves. So this is not a joke. These are out there. And they will take money to attack you, and there are many people to do it. So this is not unusual. So it's something to keep and considered in your life, because most likely you're going to bump up against some of these people one time or another in your life. Well, what do you do about that? Well, this is where the third cell comes in. This is your curse removal. This is your protection materializing energy cell. So these are all the things, these are the three areas that everybody has to work on in life. Now, if they use these tools as we tell you how to use them, and I'll leave a link down below, we offer this as a set. This is your life-correcting trinity. Now, all of us need this. People think that this is something that only happens to the other guy. Well, it isn't true. And if you ignore these things, well, you do it at your own peril, because we all run into this. We all have negative things in life, bad relationships. This start to build up energy. We start to, all of us, get exposed to certain illnesses, have family and genetic backgrounds, which make us make us vulnerable. And then these negative energies come in and they start triggering this. And it doesn't happen necessarily quickly, but over time, where people are affected for 5, 10, 15 years, which is not unusual as these things build up, well, you have some serious problems here. And it takes all three of these energies. What you want to do is to make sure that you remove all those negative energies, whether other people have thrown them at you or yourself through the uncrossing. You want to open your third eye and your chakras so you have this open, well-functioning, unblocked life. But that's not good enough. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get crossed up again right away, especially if other people are going after you, or you have a stressing life. So you got to be careful. It means you have to do your uncrossings and use these energy cells consistently. But adding the cream onto the cake here is that you need a good protection cell. A curse removing protection cell, etc. This is a big part of life. And if you don't handle that, you're going to run into it. As I said, there are very negative people out there. There are lots of people who envy you, who want to attack you. And the way that you stop this is by having this trinity. Now, I will have a link down below here that shows you the all-important trinity, but this is the major key in life. If you are blocked, if you have your, excuse me, your chakras are not functioning properly, you have negative energies of a strong amount around you, maybe somebody is trying to curse you. A lot of people are not cursed yet, but they have people trying to curse you, meaning the curses haven't stuck yet. Now, if you have a protection amulet, they won't stick to you, and then you'll be able to clear everything out. So these are all things to take into consideration. But, people want to jump ahead, and they want to say, well, I need money, so I'm just going to get a money cell. I need better health. I'm going to get a well-being amulet. And they go into specific areas before they clean themselves out. Well, unless you are doing really well, you really shouldn't do that. You should get the trinity first, clear yourself up, get yourself operating properly, and then move into a specific area that you want to supercharge. Money, success, health, psychic abilities, whatever it may be that you desire, you can then move into once you have the trinity. But this is what will produce extreme abilities. And a lot of people get extreme abilities, cells, and they want to just jump from there. But the problem is, again, what are your blockages? You're not going to have extreme abilities if your third eye isn't open, if your chakras aren't flowing well, if you haven't removed any curses you have, or if you are crossed. Well, you're not going to get extreme abilities very easily. You're going to push it out there, and of course, the cells do help dramatically, but they're not going to give you the kind of results you really want if you haven't done the foundation work. And of course, we all want to jump ahead. But it's just like the training. If you haven't taken my training courses, course 1, 2, and 3, there isn't that many of them. They're fascinating, they're fun, they're interesting, but they tell you and show you and instruct you on what you have to do to reach high levels of abilities. Whether that's simply tuning your radionic equipment 100% right, accessing the information, feeling, sensing, growing as a strong, empowered being. All of this requires a basic understanding of what manifesting is, what the principles are, what are all the things that are involved in these studies. So the courses are laid out there. These are the finest, best courses that you can ever get. We also have very important tools, and I keep stressing this. You've got to center yourself. You've got to open up once you have the flow of these energies. Or even not, the psychic tools help open your chakras. When you start doing psychic work and you tap into the psychic gym work and you're turning wheels and you're using your psychic powers, this is taking the atrophied and clogged chakras and third eye and making them work. You're making them pump psychic iron. So this is a way of clearing them out as well. Having an actual cell, of course, is a fantastic additional benefit. But that's part of it. But if you can't visualize very well, and not what you think you can do, but you have to be able to visualize at a high level, and you have to practice visualization on a consistent, pretty much almost daily aspect, and we have very simple, easy tools that do that. So if you're not doing your psychic stuff, if you're not turning wheels, trying to read cards, doing all the things to pump that muscle, you're not going to be good at anything. And that's why we have these kits. But everybody wants to jump ahead and get the cells. Well, I certainly understand that, and I was like that when I was younger as well. But you're not going to be able to reach high levels until you start training yourself properly. And we have entire systems out there all set up. They're very easy, they're not expensive, and then you can move into more select empowerments through using the basically the Trinity system is one of the keys to it all. Then you move into the other one. So it's not just easy that you just get one thing. Now we do have the ultimate cell, and this has all of our cells in it, or at least 90% of the cells that we produce are in the ultimate armor cell, which is an investment but well worth it because all of the cells are in there except for a few select ones that aren't. You also should have a basic radionic manifesting energy cell, which is kind of your horse that empowers your thought forms. Now, one of the other cells have a combination of sigils and spiritual energies and all sorts of things in them. When you get into the radionic, you're taking raw thought forms and making them extremely powerful and projecting them at a target to manifest. It's just as simple as that. So those are the kind of things you can get, as well as the bigger picture. The ultimate armor, as I said, has everything in it, but it's an investment and well worth it, because again, nothing that we offer is something you're going to be using for a year or two. It's not going to be something you're going to be using for 3 or 4 years. These are things you use for the rest of your life. And that's when they work the best, because you want to empower things when you're also doing well. Well, you want to move ahead fast when you're in a position of actual everything's going well. You just don't empower yourself when and try and clear out messes. You keep yourself. So if you're a successful person, make sure you protect that. Make sure you protect your job and your relationship. And I've seen these things fall apart, that people reach high levels of success, and instead of doing things to empower themselves continually and doing lots of protection of their relationships, of their job, of whatever it is they value, they don't do that. They get cocky and they lose everything. So there are many aspects that everyone needs to understand here. And this should have been giving you a little introduction to it all, into the fantastic Trinity set that we offer. And as I mentioned, it's a life-correcting energy cells, and I think we all knew this. It doesn't have to, hopefully you don't have to correct your lives, but most people do. But this is something that will empower your life for the rest of your life. And having the Trinity set is one of these very important and crucial areas. And hopefully I have made that clear to you now. Until next time.